Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Kaiju City is a monster game that I don't know how I got it in my collection. I'm pretty sure what I have is a prototype. But here it is. I decided to play it with the rules that I had and see how... I don't know if this was really published ever, or maybe it was, but I'm pretty sure I had a prototype version. What you're going to do is divide into two teams. Somebody's going to be the city. Somebody's going to be the monsters. Now, when you have a monster game with these fighting, Godzilla-type characters, you're immediately going to be compared to Tokyo. King of Tokyo, the King of New York series, and that's going to blow this out of the water. That Yahtzee mechanic is very good. This is going to have dice in it. You're going to be rolling these dice and kind of playing. This plays more like Smash City to me, which is a fun little game that has a novelty attached to it. The components here for my prototype weren't great. I like the artwork, but, it's really hard when you're comparing something to King of Tokyo about how good it's going to be. I do like the aspect that somebody's playing as a town. I found that really neat, and how you're trying to blow up the town, and the town is fighting back. I found it to be a very, very cool concept, other than just being the monsters. But it's just something that felt a little bit flat to me, didn't have enough to it. It was okay, wasn't something I overly enjoyed, but it was an experience that was alright. And this is something I'm going to purge. I think if I was going to play a monster fighting game that was at this weight to it, I think I would just go to King of Tokyo, which I really enjoy. Maybe King of New York for when it's something a little bit more. And Smash City, because those big dice, really does it for my son. So I think that's where I'm going to stay. Not a huge fan of prototypes. I'm not really sure how I got this, but I did have a good time with it. It's mediocre. I'd probably say a 5 on the BGG scale. But what I would say, if you're really into the monsters and you want something different and you like the aspect of playing the town, that's really the sell to me, is playing the town, then I would say that's where you want to be at with this game. For me, it's going to be a purge and not what I'm really going to recommend. Here's Kaiju City. Mankind or monsters? Their fate is in your hands. This is a prototype copy. Just want to let you know, so don't expect. I don't even know this game was ever published. Somehow I found it in my collection, so I thought I would just give it a review over. Here is the rules, which we'll take a look at in a couple of minutes. You're going to have two different types of tiles here. You're going to have these starter city tiles, which have the yellow back. They work exactly like the other ones, except for you just start with these. And then you're going to have a bunch of city tiles that will make up the remainder of what the city player will be playing with. You can see the artwork is actually fairly good. I kind of like, most of it's just locations. Some cannons here or whatever. And then what you came to see, these are the monsters. The artwork is very good on these. You're always going to have a monster with its stats over here in the picture and its special ability down there. And then you'll have an equal one that you'll be moving around the board. So this is the one you'll keep in front of you for the stats, and this one you'll be moving around the board and doing your destruction. You're going to have a tracker that will be used for the city player. Then you have some cubes and dice. This is just what came with mine. Once again, this is all prototype. Sheets is printed on one piece of paper. It's very nice. Prototype, once again. You're going to have city tiles and how the monsters are broken down. A list of components, no pictures. Setup is right here depending on the number of players and then kind of how you set up. And then an overview of the turn for the city player, because one person will play the city and each of the other players will play a monster. This will be the monster turn and your win condition. So the rules are kept very simple. There's no explanation of like the powers that are on here. There's a few things that I had a little bit of trouble with. But overall, for how simple of a game it is, the rulebook does an okay job. Nothing great, but once again, it's prototypes, so I don't want to be too tough. So depending on the number of players, everybody's going to take a monster, and this will give you your stats that you're going to have, and this will be the player that will be moving around the board. Now, they're supposed to come with standees. I don't have any standees, so for our purposes, I'll just kind of be laying them nearby, but normally they would be standing up on top of this. Now, each of the monsters will have a movement score, how many attack die they roll, and their defense, and how many hits they can take, and then a power at the bottom. This guy can move to any face-up tile because he has wings. This guy only has 1 movement, but 3 attack dice and 6 defense, 3 hits again, and can attack any 2 adjacent city tiles. So each one's going to have a different power. The monsters will all start out on a location. Now, I don't have the standees, so I'm a little limited here, but they just can't start at a military location. So let's just say for purposes that they're on these tiles standing up. One player will be playing the city player, and he will draw 4 tiles from the deck to start his hand. Then, this will be the tracker for the city player. They will each start out on 4. So every one of their tiddlywinks will be placed on a 4, and this is how he will start the game. Now, what they'll do at the first step
is they'll calculate each city. So here's a green icon. He would move up the green track. This right here is a yellow one. I'm sorry. This one right here is a blue one. So he'd move up the blue track. So that's how you're going to do. So you draw your 4 cards. Then you'll move your trackers up for every city tile that you have that is face up. Then you can play a tile from your hand. You have to pay the cost. So in this case, I would have to pay 2 of the green, 2 of the blue, and 3 of the orange battery in order to play this. I would bring it down on my tracker, however much I spent, and then I could play that anywhere orthogonally adjacent on the board. So I could place it here. I could place it here. You no longer have to keep the square. I'm going to place it there just so you can see. So what you would do next is activate each military location with this icon on it. And then you would take it and you would roll it an 8-sided die. In this case, I would get 3 rolls of the die against their defense. So in this case, I rolled a 6, which is higher than the 5. He would do 1 hit. The round would be over. Let's say I rolled a 4 the first time and I missed because it's a 5. I would get another roll. A 3 is another miss. 6, I finally hit, and he would take 1 hit. So you can only take 1 hit per round. Then the monsters will be able to attack whatever location they're on. Let's say Lucar is on this location right here on Statcom Station. What he would do is he would roll the number of attack that he has, in this case 3. He could roll 3 times, trying to get this defense amount of 6. He rolled a 4, so he missed. Rolled a 1, so he missed. And he rolled a 1, so he missed. If he missed all 3 times, then he'd be able to roll the dice, then nothing would happen. Let's say he had rolled a 9, he would defeat this location, and it would be flipped over forever and ever and always. The only change is if you attack a military location, the military location will do a counterattack of their number. So the military get, just like when he fought a monster, would get 3. So sometimes the monsters will stay away from these locations. After all the monsters attack, each monster can either utilize their special ability, in this case move to any face-up tile for him, or in this case attack any 2 adjacent city tiles. This guy can attack all adjacent battery cards. And this guy can attack all adjacent, these like spoke or widget cards. So you either activate that or you can heal. So it's very easy to do. If you have a hit marker on here and you want to get rid of it, you simply roll the die. If it's higher than your defense, which this is not, but if I had rolled an 8, then you would take the hit off. So you just want to roll higher than your own defense in order to heal. The city wins if 4 monsters are ever defeated, or if I have no tiles to draw from the deck. So if I run out of the deck, remember I'm drawing 4 each round. The monster player wins if all of the city tiles are flipped down on the board, or when I'm supposed to play with these, I don't have enough resources to play a card, then the city player would lose. So let me reiterate that. The city wins if 4 monsters are defeated, or I am able to run the timeout, i.e. there are no more cards to draw. The monsters will win if all of the city cards have been flipped over, or during the play a card turn, the city is unable to play a card down because they don't have enough resources.
Who should buy this game? I think this is something you might play with your children, just rolling some dice and having a good time. I think that non-gamers will like this. I'm not really sure gamers are going to like this. I think gamers are going to go towards King of New York or King of Tokyo. Play with your kids. I think Smash City is the game to get. I just don't really feel like this game holds up with the competition. The competition has changed since 2012 when this was released. The game is dated, but maybe if you came up with some new rules and you update it, you had the monsters. I really think what you have here is a basis, a foundation for a game. So I hate to be too hard because I was playing off a prototype, but I'm going to give this game a 5 and say, look, this might be something you want to try. If it comes out in the future, I'd be happy to re-review it. I think that with some tweaks and some additions to the game, it could be a very solid game. I like the bones of it, if you will, but it isn't one in the state that I played the prototype that I can recommend. It's going to be a Purge for me.
Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.